Hello, my name is David Fonseca Guimaraens. I'm sixth generation at Fonseca Port, the Guimaraens family. And we are here in the Fonseca Lodges in Villanova de Gaia, also in our visitor center. And Fonseca is a port house with a long tradition in vintage port, in full-body ports, but also a magnificent age-tawny ports. At Fonseca, we have three quintas: Quinta do Penascal in the Tavra Valley and Quinta do Cruzeiro in Santo Antonio in the Pinhão Valley. These are the backbone to all of our ports, but we also work with a number of grape farmers who supply their grapes to us that we make in our wineries. And it is on the basis of all the ports that we make from these different quintas that we put together our magnificent range of Fonseca ports. Today, we're going to be doing a tasting and pairing together. And that's what we propose to do and show how the different styles of port can match different combinations on different occasions. And let's have some fun. Of our range of ports, the white ports that we produce at Fonseca, we produce a dry white port and a sweet white. We're going to taste now the Siroco dry white port. Siroco, as a name, comes from the dry winds which come up off the north of Africa into southern Europe, and that's what gave the inspiration to the name of Siroco dry white port. I like serving Siroco as an aperitif in three different forms. The first, just on its own, where always chilled. Siroco is aged for 3 years in seasoned oak, because we're not looking for oak flavor, and we're looking to get some maturity so that you get this wonderful richness and complexity, but it's still youthful and it has this very citrus fruit to it. So on its own, it is rich, it is full, it is round and very refreshing. The second combination I'm going to do is one which is very informal, very casual. I'm going to take some ice, some orange peel, and this is what I call Siroco on the rocks. It's as simple as that. You get this orange zest which just gives it a lift. This can be really casual, great drink to have at the cocktail bar, refreshing and easy to do. I think this is a form of serving white port which I serve a lot at home. Then the third way is a white port and tonic, a classic which is a wonderful thirst quencher, and just put a touch of lemon rind, a bit of fresh mint, and white port and tonic in the measures similar to what you do in a gin tonic. The third white port and 2/3 tonic. And this is undoubtedly one of the most refreshing thirst quenchers for a meal, really refreshing. So, Fonseca Siroco dry white port, three great combinations for different occasions, different tastes. On its own, chilled, Siroco on the rocks with a bit of orange peel. As the ice melts, it just makes it continually refreshing. The orange gives us citrus zest, which is delicious. And white port and tonic, a long drink, doesn't have the same alcohol as the gin, so it's really nice to drink without having too much alcohol in it, or with some delicious dried roasted almonds from the bottle. Cheers. Fonseca Bin 27 is our flagship port for Fonseca. It's a full-bodied port, very fruity, very rich. And it is a port that, when my father, Bruce Guimaraens, launched it in 1970, his intention was to put in a glass of port for day-to-day drinking, a port which has all of the richness and intensity of a young vintage port. And that's exactly what Bin 27 is, and which we work very hard to ensure we maintain that standard, is a port which stands out for its intensity of young, blackcurrant berry fruit, and extremely full and rich on the palate. It is young, and we want it to be young. We're talking about a 2.5-year-old port because we want this berry fruit to be youthful and fresh. And that's what makes it the perfect combination at the end of the meal, either with what we have here, which is a really delicious chocolate cake, where the richness of the chocolate is rich, it's full, will combine perfectly with the tannins and the fullness of this full-bodied Bin 27 port. And this combination of chocolate and Bin 27 is excellent. But in the same way, if you want to, instead of the chocolate, serve it with the cheese is also very intense. And the beauty of the Bin 27, with its intensity of fruit, which is fullness on the palate, with its firmness of tannins, is that will cleanse the palate after either your chocolate or a cheese, which will just make you want to go back for another mouthful and another glass. Late bottle vintage is a full-bodied port from a single year, and here we have the 2015 late bottle vintage. And this is a port that will start off young and fruity and very intense, but by aging in these large wooden vats, it will age slowly, and the young berry fruit will mellow, it will become a bit more complex. At Fonseca, LBV is very much a specialty that we do. We bottle it as an unfiltered port because we're not worried that it might throw a bit of sediment over time. We want it to hold on to all of its richness. This is ports which are made in our traditional method of foot treading. So it's the ports that after a vintage get set aside for a late bottle vintage. It is complex, it is smooth, and that makes such a good combination with a cheese like we have here. You can explore different cheeses, but for this port, LBV, I've chosen this delicious brie. The richness of the fruit, a lot of tannin, but they've softened, and a very, very long finish. What a great combination. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tasting the way I have. It's been fun, but then this is what I love to do. It has been a huge pleasure for me. This year I'm celebrating my 30th year since I came back home to make these magical ports, and I have no doubt that port can give you many a pleasure on many an occasion. Choose whichever style of port, depending on what occasion you're having. But there is one thing that I am certain of. There is no occasion which port should not be served. Enjoy. Cheers.